Hi, friends. Here we are again to talk about author's purpose. I hope you enjoyed listening to that pie song again today. It's a catchy tune that will help you remember author's purpose. So, just as a review from yesterday, authors write for three different reasons. They can write to persuade, to inform, or to entertain. So we talked about persuade yesterday, and as a reminder that when you're writing to persuade a reader, you are writing to convince the reader of something or to change their mind. Now, today we're going to talk about the next author's purpose, which is inform. So when you are writing to inform a reader, you are writing to teach the reader something. So like I said yesterday, a lot of times that this will be our nonfiction books that talk about real things, and they can also be books that tell you how to do something. So today I'm going to share our nonfiction story of this week that goes along with our story, I Don't Want to Be a Frog. So this story is called Fascinating Frogs, and it gives you a lot of great information about various types of frogs. So this will be our story to inform you. So as you are familiar with, our nonfiction stories of the week have a table of contents. So we're going to read the introduction and about all these different types of frogs that you can see on this page. Then at the end, like we do in a lot of nonfiction books, we have the glossary, which has all of the special vocabulary words that you're going to learn throughout the story as well. Okay, here's our introduction. Ribbit. Even toddlers recognize the sounds of a frog. Why do you think that is? Why are we so fascinated with this animal? Is it because their croak is so different than the sounds that most other animals make? Or is it because some species of frogs can leap 20 times their own length in one jump? I'm not sure what the reason for that fascination is, but I do know a few things about frogs. Frogs are amphibians that lay their eggs in or near water. Frogs will go through a complete metamorphosis, also known as major change in their lives. During the tadpole phase, they have gills, but will develop lungs so that they can breathe air. Frogs don't drink water like we do. They soak it up through their skin. There are around 4,780 different species of frogs with slightly different behaviors and appearances. Let's take a closer look at a few of these frogs. The poison dart frog. The rainforests of Central and South America are home to one of the world's most poisonous animals, the poison dart frog. The bright colors are not just for fashion purposes. They are a warning to predators to be aware of their toxicity. For example, the golden poison dart frog could kill 20,000 mice with the poison inside of its body. The frog's skin is covered in the poison, so just one lick of its skin could mean death for a predator. But what about the dart part of their name? You guessed it. Their poison is extracted and used on the ends of hunters' darts to make these weapons even more dangerous. Bullfrog. The bullfrog gets its name due to its loud, deep croak and how similar it is to a cow's moo. Bullfrogs are semi-aquatic, which means they live near the edge of freshwater ponds and lakes. They eat insects, mice, snakes, fish, and other small creatures. They lunge at their food and swallow it whole. The female bullfrog lays up to 20,000 jelly-like eggs at one time. Once eggs become tadpoles, it will take them a year to develop into full-blown frogs. The male frog will hang around to protect the tadpoles, and he will attack any predator that tries to harm them. Bullfrogs help us out by eating mosquito larvae and keeping the mosquito population from getting out of control. The leopard frog. The leopard frog is known for its large circular spots on its back. These spots act as camouflage by helping it blend in with its surroundings. The adaptation protects the frog from predators. The leopard frog is also known as the meadow frog because it can live in large open fields or even in mountains. Most frogs live right next to fresh water to ensure that their skin stays moist. When the leopard frog is away from a permanent water source, it will rest in small holes, like a ditch that it creates with its own body. During the winter, leopard frogs hibernate under rocks, mud, or underwater. The leopard frog can leap 8 feet in one jump and is the state amphibian for both Vermont and Minnesota. The red-eyed tree frog. Like other frogs, the red-eyed tree frog begins its life in eggs, then changes into a tadpole, and eventually becomes a frog. The bright colors of their eyes and legs are a defense mechanism known as startle coloration. The shocking colors usually cause predators to freeze and gives the tree frogs enough time to escape. Red-eyed tree frogs are nocturnal amphibians who mostly eat insects or frogs that are similar than they are. Red-eyed tree frogs also have suction cup toes that help them cling to tree branches. Female tree frogs lay their eggs on the underside of leaves that hang over the water. This is very strategic because when the tadpoles emerge from their eggs, they will be washed down the leaves right into the water where they will stay until they are developed enough to climb up into the trees. The horned frog. The most common horned frog is the Argentine wide-mouthed frog. These frogs can be found in the rainforest of South America. They are known as greedy eaters as they will attempt to eat anything that moves close to them, from lizards, birds, to small mammals. They will remain motionless until they spot their prey. Then they will shoot out their extremely sticky tongue, let it hit their prey, and retract their tongue back into their mouth. Their strong jaws will slam shut, preventing their prey from escaping. If a large predator tries to eat them, the horned frog will bite it. The pointy pieces over their eyes act as another element of camouflage as they look like leaves on the ground. The glass frog. Like many interesting frogs, the glass frog is native to Central and South America. His skin is so translucent that you can see his beating heart and other organs. Many people mistake the glass frog for the tree frog, but they have several differences. As far as their appearance, the main difference is that the glass frogs have large forward-facing eyes, whereas the tree frog has eyes on the side of its head. Glass frogs are territorial, which means that they claim an area as their own. Male glass frogs will warn other male glass frogs with a loud croak, but they will also become aggressive with other glass frogs that try to come into their area. Frogs are quite the fascinating creatures. Can you find similarities in the behavior of these frogs to other animals we have studied? And here's our glossary of some important vocabulary words. So we talked about defense mechanism, which is a behavior that means to protect oneself from harm. Permanent means lasting for a very long time. And we talked about that when the frogs need to be near a permanent water source. That means that the water source has to be there all the time. Retract means to pull back in, and that we learned about that when we talked about the frogs sticking out their tongue to catch their prey and retracting their tongue back in. Toxicity is our next word, is how poisonous something is. So the toxicity of the poisonous dart frog is very, very poisonous. Translucent is our last word. That means not completely clear, but enough that light can pass through it and can be seen through. And we talked about that with the, excuse me, the glass frog, that its skin is so translucent that you can kind of see through it. So, since I hope you enjoy listening to that story, and that was a piece of info, a book that was written to inform you about all these fascinating frogs. So friends, what you're going to do right now is I have attached this sheet for you in the plans, and you're going to print this out, or if you don't want to print it out, you can just write this on a piece of paper. But I want you to pick 3 different frogs that we just read about. And next to each type of frog, you're going to write the frog's name in this box, and then to the right of that box, you're going to give me a piece of information that you learned about the frog or a fact that you learned about the frog. Now, if you need to look back through the book to see certain words and to remind yourself about the facts that you learned about each frog, I've also attached the book and the plans as well. So you can go back with mom and dad and just reread it if you would like to, or you can just click back through the slideshow. But I hope you had a fun time today learning about all different types of frogs. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the author's purpose of entertaining, and that'll be a fun one. So see you tomorrow.